Alrighty. Water bears. Introduction. What is a water bear? A water bear, or more formally called a tardigrade, is a phylum of eight-legged, segmented microanimals. These little critters are part of an elite group of animals called extremophiles. This elite classification of microanimals is defined as a microorganism that lives in conditions of extreme temperature, acidity, alkalinity, or chemical concentration. These extremely tough little guys have been observed not just surviving, but thriving in some of the most uninhabitable locations, from the deepest parts of the oceans to volcanic vents and even to the vacuum of space. Some more background. Water bears have 8 legs, which they use to cling to plant matter or algae or other surfaces, with 4 to 6 claws that they use to help get around and move. They have a specialized mouth called a bucco, used for absorbing nutrients from plants and other organisms. They prefer to live in damp environments, much like moss, algae, or the bottom of lakes and sediment. Water bears were first discovered in 1777 by German zoologist Johann August Ephraim Gozzi, who remarked at their little shape and how they resembled that of a bear and reside in moisture, and coined the term water bears. In that same year, the Italian biologist Lazzaro Spallanzani named them tardigrades, which means slow-moving in Latin. The taxonomic classification. To the right, you can see the taxonomic tree for the tardigrades. Water bears belong to the phylum of Tardigrada, from which there is over 1,000 different species of tardigrades, according to the Integrated Taxonomic Information System. These extremely tough guys are next closely related to arthropods, kind of like the crustaceans or insects, and nematodes like a roundworm. Tardigrades are covered in a hard cuticle like that of the exoskeletons of their cousins, the arthropods, kind of like the exoskeleton of a lobster, because both the tardigrade and lobsters shed that exoskeleton in order to grow. This exoskeleton-like structure plays a crucial part in why tardigrades are able to survive for so long and so much. In addition, tardigrades are actually the only species to additionally have their own phylum completely to themselves, as you can see from the taxonomic tree on its right. But what makes a water bear so special? Water bears are virtually indestructible. These tough fellows are able to go into a state called cryptobiosis, more commonly referred to as a ton state. The tardigrades go from an active state to an inactive state, in which they retract all of their limbs into the body and completely release all of the water in the body, completely dehydrating themselves. This inactive state, in addition to a unique protein to tardigrades called DSUP, short for damage suppressor, which helps protect the DNA, for example, from either extreme cold, which can cause cell shredding from the icing of the cells, or extreme heat that can cause cells to boil, with both destroying the DNA if it wasn't for the DSUP protein. What makes the water bear so special? Part 2. With these two abilities, water bears are able to survive some extreme and out there conditions. For starters, scientists have observed water bears in near absolute zero for over 20 hours, and once thawed, were back on their merry way, and then they were kept at -200 Celsius for over 2 years. And once again, when thawed out, the water bears were just fine. They have been boiled and it didn't even bother them. Water bears have been observed surviving at a pressure 6 times that than at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. We've even launched them into space to see if they could survive the brutal vacuum and radiation of space. Yet they came back unscathed. That's only scratching the surface with what these little fellows have endured and survived. Water bears forever. Believe it or not, tardigrades have been on this earth for over 600 million years, outdating the dinosaurs by 400 million years. And they're going to be here for another 600 million years. The water bear's ability to go into a cryptobiosis inactive state has allowed them to survive through all five major extinction level events, and inevitably will survive the event that wipes us humans off the planet. The trait they adapted over 600 million years ago have evolved to help better protect water bears and help keep these little fellows almost completely immortal. And then here are my sources. And thank you for paying attention or listening to my tardigrade water bear presentation.